It's time to be asking us questions, sharing things that have gone well. If you've got hurdles, talk about them, because every time I've heard somebody bring up something that wasn't working for them, I got many comments from other people saying that was an awesome question or comment. So please, this is the time to do that. And also, though I say this every time, nobody takes advantage of it. You can be on this call live with me, talk back and forth, and everybody gets a lot more out of it, especially the person who chooses to be on the call with me. You just need a headset or to call in to the direct number. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. You may remember about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I said in August I'm going to begin calling you to see if you know this presentation. Well, I'm going to start next week calling to make sure you know this presentation. So why do you think I want you to know this presentation? Well, first of all, when I first said that, we didn't know have results for this, but we've had 36 out of 36 sales now come using this presentation. So that is of people who were medically qualified. Now, if you listen to the presentation, you'll see that part of the actual presentation to see if they're medically qualified. So we had a couple of guys skip that and try to run this through with people who were not medically qualified. No, they did want to do it. They just couldn't get it because of the medical qualification. So 36 out of 36. Guys, how often or how many times are you going to find a presentation that gives you 36 out of 36? I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, we obviously won't keep that kind of record, but it's pretty dang good to begin with, so you need to know this presentation, and I will be calling you and asking you. So for the 30 or so guys that are on the call, you're lucky because I've given you now 2 warnings. I'm going to call you and ask you if you know this presentation or not. The guys that aren't on the call, well, they're going to be have an unpleasant surprise if they haven't learned this. So please learn this presentation, okay? Any questions on that? Any concerns on that? Okay. So my little pointer for the week is this. Guys, on the news today I saw Colorado Springs flash flood because they had fires last year or 2 years ago. Now they have flash floods. And what do we every time we turn on the TV, what are we seeing? Major disasters. So the reinsurance, the giant Munich Re, and these are the people who reinsure the property casualty companies, they have reported that there's been a 4-fold increase in natural disasters in the U.S. since the 1980s. 4-fold increase in natural disasters in the U.S. since 1980s. And that's mostly in California, East Coast, and the Gulf Coast. The reason is that people are moving to those places in droves. So I think the last count, a quarter of our population, a quarter of the United States population lives within 5 miles of a coast. Well, and guess who gets hit? Besides California, and again, we're seeing these huge storms go through the middle of the country too that are causing all sorts of damage with rain and flooding. But a lot of this damage is coming from the coasts and the damage that the weather and the ocean does to those towns and cities. So the reason I'm bringing this up, because going forward, we're going to have to understand this and protect our clients against it. Even though we're not property casualty agents, we're going to need to figure out a way to deal with this. So rates are going to go up. There's no doubt about that. Payouts are going to go down, and there's no doubt about that. And there's nothing we do about this except if coach our clients, they're going to start prevent people from building in prone areas, and we've already seen that in some places like New Orleans and places like that. So if you wonder why that's the case, well, the insurance industry actually was responsible for the first building and fire codes. It wasn't cities. It wasn't concerned citizens. It was insurance companies that started to require building and fire safety codes. And so there's a lot of talk that now insurance companies will start force people to not build right next to a river. I don't care how pretty it is, how nice it is. Can't build next to a river. Can't build next to that. And again, that's not we're not to that point yet, but we're going to be seeing that coming in the next 10 years. So that's just some information for you to put in, park in the back of your head. But the way we can use that is because every time we turn on the television, we're getting hit with these natural disasters. Many of you might not be aware, we have a little or mini seminar that's about a half an hour long called Fires, Floods, and Taxes, which talks about how clients can prepare themselves for fires, floods, and taxes. It's a property casualty checklist. It's a identity theft. It's all sorts of things that a client can use to protect themselves against the unforeseen circumstances. And you give them a lot of checklists, sheets, information that they can bring home with them. So it's a half-an-hour presentation. It's fantastic because it's not necessarily about us and what we do with their finances, but it's a way for us to differentiate ourselves from everybody else, and that we can help them with all sorts of things. Now, what we do on that half-an-hour presentation is, even though that 90% of it is about other things such as the fires and floods that we've been seeing and how they protect themselves against it, we at the end put on a little module where you can put a financial hook or something that would get them to come in and see you. So where would you use this particular presentation? It's a presentation where you would use it for, if Rotary asks you to speak, or your church asks you to speak, or a retirement group asks you to speak, because it's short. It's short. It's non-product pushing. I mean, they're going to ask you to come back and speak again when you do the fire, floods, and taxes presentation. So if you ever get asked to speak, this is a fantastic little presentation for you to use. Also, we use this for referral dinners. So it's the one you would use when you would invite 3 or 4 couples with them bringing a friend. So you'd actually be doing it in front of about 12 people in a nice restaurant, and this is the one that you would use for referral dinners, where you'd have a couple of clients, 2, 3 clients, bring 2 or 3 friends with them. So it's a nice little presentation, and it's been in the news a lot, so people would be very appreciative of that presentation. I wanted you to know about that. But with that said, guys, I want to see some answers to this. Between July and December, or really, if you want to get paid on anything from July to January 31st, what months should you be marketing in? So let's see some answers to this. July, or really June, all the way up to January 31st, where should you be marketing? What months? So let's see some answers to this. September, October, Eric, thanks. September, okay, Michael, good. So September, October. So we're now nearing the middle of August, and how long does it take to put together oh, Michelle, sorry about that. Don't have my, I called Michelle Michael because I don't have my viewer all the way open up. Thanks, Michelle. So guys and gals, how long does it take to get a seminar put together? 30 days. A mailing, it takes 30 days to get a mailing out. So 30 days, that means you better get your behinds in gear if you plan on doing an event in September. If you don't plan on doing an event in September, that means you only have October left, which means all of your marketing, so you're going to do one event, one piece of marketing for June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January 31st. It's 8 months. One piece of marketing for 8 months. How much money can you do when you do that? Because you cannot market in November. You cannot market in December. It's foolish time to be marketing. And the reason I say the end of January is because anything you do in January, you're not going to get paid till when? February. So you need, when I call you to ask you how you're doing on learning that presentation, guess what the second question I'm going to ask you? Have you scheduled your event? So guys and gals, please get on the phone. The person who's helping us with this at ECA is Scott, and get on the phone with Scott and start planning your event for September. Okay? So those are, I'm going to ask you how you're doing on the presentation. I'm going to quiz you on that to see if you know it yet. And I'm going to ask you, have you scheduled your presentation for September? Because guys, September, October is all you have left, and then you got to wait until February to get paid again. So let's get going on that. So what do you think I'm going to say if you haven't got the presentation memorized after I've given you 2 warnings in a month, over a month? Am I going to be happy? And how often have I been talking about getting an event done in September? So if you haven't even done that, am I going to be happy? You have no clue what I'm talking about, you're going to be happy. And why? Guys, why did you come on board to this to 5Q? Did we promise to give you a pill that we would FedEx you? Some sort of success pill that we would FedEx you that would make you successful? No. Yeah, Bill Doan says, what are you waiting for? Exactly right. What are you waiting for? So I cannot do this for you. You came on to make money. I'm giving you tools to make money. We are here to hold your hand to make sure that all of these things go smoothly for you. But we cannot grab your hand and drag you kicking and screaming to making more money. But we are here to hold your hand minute by minute to help you do this stuff. So guys, let's get busy. Let's learn the presentation. Let's get these events scheduled for the fall. Okay. Okay. So now on to our topic for the morning. Starbucks CEO said, "We're not in the coffee business. We're in the people business, serving coffee." And he was asked, he said that early on when Starbucks first started taking off, because people were asking him, why would people pay $3, $4, $5 for a cup of coffee? He says, we're not in the coffee business. We're in the people business, serving coffee. People used to go to Starbucks just to feel good about themselves. And there's so many competitors now, it's not necessarily the case, and people got used to drinking premium coffees. But at the beginning, people were paying what at that point was ungodly amounts of money for coffee. I mean, we're gotten used to that now. But at that point, it was crazy amounts for coffee just because it made them feel good about themselves. See, the sales success managers, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. John Maxwell said that. And in fact, people are actually afraid of how much you know. So why would people be afraid of how much you know? So if everything that we do, all of our marketing is about how much we know, all of our seminars are about how much we know, all of our meetings are about how much we know, I'm telling you, how much you know actually frightens them. What they're looking for is somebody who cares. It's intimidating, Bill says. You're exactly right, Bill. It's intimidating. Because here's the thing. If somebody knows more than me, Bill, if somebody knows more than me, what can they do? If somebody knows more than me, Bill, what can they do? Or anybody else? Take advantage of me, Casey. You're exactly right. They can take advantage of me. But if somebody cares about me, what can't they do? If somebody cares about me, what can't they do? Take advantage, Michelle, exactly. So here's the thing. If we go back to this, this is absolutely 100% true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, because knowing, if you know a lot and you don't care about them, they're really could be taken advantage of. But if you really care about them a lot, you can't take advantage of them. So they want to know that you care first. Then they want to know if you know. And we get that backwards in our business all the time. So we cannot just be pushing how much we know, no. We have to show how much we care. And really, that's what Starbucks did with their coffee. And a lot of guys will tell me, well, that's crazy. I don't make any money doing those things that show how much I care. I'm interested in only things that make me money. Well, guys, showing you the client how much you care, that does make you money. See, my attitude was I'm not doing anything that doesn't make me money for 7 years. And that's why I was making $50,000 a year during those years. But when I did a 180 and started showing clients how much I cared about them, that's when my income in 3 years went from 50 up to almost $1 million. And in a very small territory. All the things, think about all the things that we do at the disclosure meeting. Those are all, 80% of what we do makes us no money. Makes us no money. 80% of what we do makes us no money. Or really, makes us a lot of money, because it shows the client that you are different from all your competitors, because you do all these other things, survivor's guides, making sure the property casualty, umbrella insurance is in place, making sure their beneficiaries are done right, the titling done right. You do all these things that other advisors don't even care about, don't do, or actually do on purpose. We don't know which, but it doesn't matter, does it? See, and it's the same with marketing. Traditional marketing is all about features, advantages, benefits, things that make them money. See, and because customers are viewed as rational decision makers. So the methods and tools are analytical and quantitative. All of the traditional marketing is very, very much about dollars and cents. But the new marketing is called experiential. That's what Red Bull does. How much money, guys, does Red Bull make on their events, like their events where they drive people drive contraptions off a pier, or this downhill skating championship? How much money do they make on that, guys? Bill says, yeah, millions. But Bill, is it direct or indirect? Yeah, they lose money, Casey. They lose money on it. But then Bill is right. They also make millions. So how can they lose money and make millions? It's because it's experiential. People get a feeling about Red Bull. That Red Bull is hip. That's exciting. It's it's modern, and that's what people want. And so when they're drinking Red Bull, but you hardly ever see a Red Bull commercial on TV. Okay, you do occasionally, but not to warrant the kind of money they spend. I mean, they spend way more money on events than they do on direct marketing on TV. How about Zappos? How much marketing do you see on TV or magazines or anywhere for Zappos? I've never seen an ad for Zappos. Yeah, zero, Michelle, exactly. But so why do people love Zappos? Zappos has told their phone people to stay on the phone as long as they want with the client. Make the client happy. Also, if you've ever ordered something from Zappos, they always promise to get it to you within a week, and then it ends up at your door the next day. So they under-promise, over-deliver, over and over. It's an experience when you buy from Zappos. Chuck E. Cheese has the worst possible pizza in the world, and still, how packed is it? Why are people going there? For the pizza? No. Kids want to go there for the experience. I don't know if you've ever been to Chicago. One of my favorite restaurants in Chicago is Ed DeBevick's. And all they do is serve breakfast food and hamburgers and shakes. And they charge way, 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 way too much for them. But the restaurant is always packed. It's a city block big, and it's always packed. Why? Because of the experience. Actually, they have a little gimmick where the servers insult you when you come in, and they insult you all the way through your dinner. And so you expect that when you come in, but that's why you come in. You want to be insulted, and it's what makes it fun. And then they get up on the counter, and they dance, and they do all sorts of things. And they charge unbelievable prices for the food because they do this, and they're packed. Delta American Express card. I mean, I've never had an American Express card in my life, but boy, I've got one. Why? Because I fly in Delta a lot, and they upgrade you all the time, and they pay for your bags, and they give you the access to the lounge, all sorts of things. So I didn't go with the American Express card because I thought it was a good card. In fact, it's not accepted at many places I want to shop at. So it's a horrible card, but I go there because of the experience it gives me. How about, this is a huge one. I mean, I had a client, I think worth $2.5 million, a little old lady, and the bank was taking her to the cleaners. The bank was taking her to the cleaners. They had all their money there. They kept putting her in, and she did not know or ask for this, but they kept putting her in the lowest paying CDs they had, but she wanted it. She just thought the bank was so great. Why? Because once a month, the bank actually paid for her to go on their little bank bus trips that they have. So how much do you think the bank paid for her to go on that bus trip? Probably $35 at the most to keep her, and they were making tons of money off her. But she would not leave that bank. Why? Because they pay for this travel club, and that's such a, guys, do you think she's odd in that thinking, or that's typical of consumers? So experiential marketing is where it's at, the customer experience. See, consumption is a holistic experience. It's not just what you're buying. It's how you feel while you're buying it. Do you get that? It's not just what you're buying. It's how you feel while you're buying it. Customers are rational and emotional, and which one do you think is going to win out? The rational or the emotional? We all know the answer to that. Who's going to win out, the rational or the emotional? If you walk into a place that has great prices, but the bathroom is overflowing and filthy, and the carpet's dirty and whatever else, do you want to buy anything from that store? So it's rational and emotional. Yeah, I got a lot of emotionals. So methods to get emotional, methods could be eclectic. So you can it's a very it's a wide spectrum of things you can do to grab somebody's attention experientially. So traditional branding, that's why, and we can't do, guys. Can any of us in this industry afford to do traditional branding? How much does it take to do traditional branding? Now, I just talked to an advisor in Annapolis who has a huge brand in that city, a huge brand in that city. But guess how many years it took him to create that huge brand? Years and dollars, Jerry says. Exactly, years and dollars. Takes years and dollars. And so this advisor in Annapolis, he has a huge brand, but it's taken him 30 years to get there, and he spends $100,000 a year just to build that brand. Most of us don't have that kind of time. So traditional branding takes huge money, and as Jerry says, time as well. Experiential marketing can actually be a very, very small investment. Giving people a great experience does not cost a lot of money. Traditional branding is about becoming a brand identifier, and experiential branding is about providing an experience. People say, "Hey, did you go on that Christmas lights tour? Hey, did you go to the box seats at the Twins game? Hey, did you?" I mean, it's about experience, and it's very easy to get known as an experience provider. It's very difficult to get known as a brand identifier. Traditional branding is logos. Experiential branding is events. Traditional branding is image awareness. Experiential brand is sensory awareness, giving people things that they can remember. It's very difficult to get people to remember your logo. It's very easy to get them to remember an experience, a smell, a taste, an emotion. It's very easy for them to remember that. So we can't afford the time or the money to do traditional branding, but we can do experiential branding. So one of the ways, we do this any number of ways. In fact, if you think, what's our event about? What's Think Outside the Box about? It's about having fun. It's about the experience. It's about laughter. It's about people remembering that they had a good time at the event. Not about what they learned, but that they had a good time. Now, they learn stuff. Yeah, they do. That's why they make the appointments. But when they talk to their friends, they're going to say, "Oh, I learned so much there." No, they're going to say, "Man, it was so awesome, and we had so much time. We were laughing." And then, you know, afterwards I went to see him, and boy, he knew a lot. So does that sound like it's the primary or the secondary reason? They have to have fun, or you have to reach them experientially before they'll let you reach them with what you know. You have to show them how much you care before they care how much you know. So one of the ways that we do this, though, other than events, is right in your office space. We call it the WOW experience. So where do we see our prospects? So there's depends on where you see them. In home, the prospect is comfortable. So we have some of our guys have their offices in their home. And most of our guys have their offices in an office space. So what I'm going to talk about today is the guys that have offices in an office space. And there's some things that you want to do to make people feel like they're at home. And then when I go through this, guys that have their offices in their home or who go to people's houses to see them, they'll all say, "Well, I can't do that stuff. I can't do that stuff. I can't do that stuff you're showing guys to do with their current office space." If you go see somebody in their home, you don't have to do all the stuff I'm showing. You don't have to give them the WOW experience that I'm about to show you. Why? If you're seeing people in their in their homes, why don't you have to do special things in your office place? Well, think about it, guys. When people come to see you, aha! Eric says you're on their turf. Exactly right. You're exactly right, Eric. You're on their turf. See, when people come to see you, they're nervous. I don't care what you could do, they're still going to be nervous. Think about it. Even when you go to the attorney to close on your house, and even if you know the attorney, you're nervous. I mean, it's nervous going into somebody else's turf, especially their professional turf. So when you go to their home, you don't have to do anything to lower their resistance level. You don't have to do anything to make them at home because they already feel at home. They're on their own turf. So all the stuff I'm about to show you does not really affect you if you go to see people in their home. But if they come to your home, you need to make sure they feel comfortable. So in your office, the prospects are nervous. In their home, they're not. So when they're in your office, we need to lower that nervous level and turn it from a nervous experience into a fun, memorable experience. So we want to be different. So do we want to be different this way? By outspending our competition, getting marble floors and spending all sorts of money on furniture and make sure that we have a beautiful view from our office. Do we need to do that, guys? My office was on Insurance Row above an orthodontist. It was as plain as you could possibly be. White walls. I spent probably a total of $500 on all the furniture. It was rattan furniture, a glass coffee table from Pier 1 Imports. I mean, my desk was a used library desk I got from a flea market. So I certainly did not wow them with how much money I spent. And yet everybody loved the office place. Everybody had a great time. They were memorable. They felt comfortable there. They would hang out there. Why? It wasn't by outspending people and having pretty offices. It's about the other things you do. I mean, that's certainly an option, but who do you attract when you do that? What do people think? If you have a really fancy office place, what do you think? Again, if you're dealing with people with multi-millions of dollars, you want to have an office place like that. Do we deal with those people, or do we deal with the millionaire next door, the mass affluent, the upper middle class? And when they see that, what do they think? When they see, if you're driving a Maybach or a $100,000 car, BMW, what do they think about you? You're too wealthy, exactly. Ostentatious, exactly. So they don't like to see that kind of stuff. See, there's a better way anyways. It's cheaper for you. Why don't you drive that car in the weekend? Don't drive it to work. Have them invest in your house. Don't invest in your office. Because you can show them how much you care very easily in a very cheap office. So first thing, figure out not having a fancy office so does not prevent you from having to make sure that at least that they're having a clean, well-preserved space that they come to, though. So make sure that your building and parking lot are clean. If it's not, complain to your landlord or clean it up yourself if nothing, because you know what? That's what the client thinks about. So they don't need fancy, but they do need clean. They do need orderly. So are there easy signs to find out where they should go to? Is it clean? How's the landscaping? Are the bushes overgrown, or are they clipped and neatly? Again, bug your landlord, and if he won't do it, just say, I'm going to do it myself then. What grade would you give your building? Again, I don't want to see an A+, but I don't want to see a D or an F either. I'm looking for a B building. That's what I want. What about your reception area? Is it easy to find? Is your receptionist friendly? Now, some of you do work at, at an office suite. How can you make, so you have 5 people sharing the same receptionist. What can you do, guys, to make sure that that receptionist is friendly to your clients? What can you do? Let's think about that, guys. Whoever has an office suite, answer that question. What can you do to make sure that receptionist is friendly to you and your clients? Why not bring her in coffee when you come in the morning? Donuts, exactly, Michelle. Bring her in coffee in the morning. Give her a tip on a Friday. And just thank her for being so friendly to your clients. How many of the other people you think are doing that to her? And if it's your receptionist, there is zero excuse to not have a friendly receptionist. I will tell you that people came to see people didn't even want to see me. They wanted to see my receptionist, Judy. They love Judy. They would talk to her for 45 minutes, come talk to me for 5 minutes. Have a friendly receptionist. If you do not have a friendly receptionist, then move that receptionist. If she's really, really good at what she does, other than receptioning, or whatever you want to call that, greeting people, then move her back behind the wall and have her do all the other stuff she's good at, but get somebody who's friendly up front and get somebody who's friendly answering the phone. There is zero excuse to have somebody not answering your phone friendly either. How's it decorated? Well, how do you think I decorated? Do you think I bought expensive furniture? Do you think I made sure I had plush carpeting? No, it was industrial carpeting, like I said, cheap furniture. But guess how mine was decorated? With art? No. With golf magazines? No. What was on my walls? What was on my table? Some of you know this. Let's see if you guys. Client collage, right, Bill? Client collage. So I had a barbecue every single summer. I had Christmas lights tours every December. So what I did is I took dozens and dozens of pictures at those things. And besides, at the end of the event, sending it to the client, sending their particular picture to the client and thanking them for coming, I actually made a double copy and I put it into big picture frames. So every event had probably 36, 40 pictures. So every year I kept adding another picture, another picture, another picture with all these friendly, happy faces in a collage. Because I don't want them in order. I don't want them to be like when you go to a used car dealer and they have all their victims lined up on their wall of people that they sold. No, that's horrible. Mine instead looked like a piece of art, and then I took all the pictures and I put them helter-skelter, this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, into a collage. And invariably, people would come in and they'd look at those pictures. They'd go from one picture frame to another picture frame to another picture frame, and they saw 2 things. What 2 things did they see, guys? What 2 things did they see? Number one, they saw dozens and dozens, or hundreds of smiling faces, happy clients having fun, right, Bill? And then, you know what else they invariably found? Oh, I know them. Oh, I know them. I didn't know you worked with the Smiths. Oh, I didn't know you worked with the Johnsons. So both those things, happy clients having fun and finding people who they know worked with you, that's a nice experience to come into. I mean, have you ever been into a pizza place or a little mom and pop restaurant and they have all sorts of pictures of clients that have been there before? Even if it's a crappy place, it makes you feel like it's a good, nice, friendly place. Even though the booths are worn out, the chairs are worn out, but they have all these pictures of all these families with lots of smiles, what do you feel about that restaurant? I mean, I've been in those restaurants, and I feel warm and welcomed even though it's the first time I've been in there. Yeah, good, exactly. So that's how I decorate it. What's on my coffee table? Well, it's all the letters from people who did not become clients of mine. All the letters from people who become clients of mine. So the people who didn't have enough money to become a client, I always sent them home with a self-addressed envelope. And I would always say before they left, to say, folks, I mean, was this worthwhile to come in? Because, guys, with people who didn't have enough money, I helped them as much as I could. I helped them. I pull out a yellow pad and say, you need to get this done, this done, this done. I'd give them a survivor's guide. I'd give them all sorts of things and send them home because I was making the decision not to work with them because they didn't have enough money. So I'd make it a really pleasurable experience. And at the end, I'd say, you know, did I try to sell you anything? And they say, well, no. I said, yeah, did I wrestle you to the ground and try to force you to buy something from you? No, you didn't do that. Was this a pleasant experience? Yeah. I mean, would you tell other people they should do this? Yeah. Would you do a favor then? If I sent you home with a self-addressed stamped envelope, would you write a little note about the experience? Because some people think I'm going to wrestle them to the ground and try to make them buy something. I didn't do that, did I? No, you didn't. So could you write a little note saying that this is a good experience and that we didn't try to sell you anything? And that's what I put on my coffee table. So I had about 150 letters on my coffee table. A book of testimonials, exactly right, Eric. So, and the funny thing is, probably 2/3 of those testimonials were from people who weren't even clients of mine. It was from those people who I just helped out but didn't have enough money. And they write the most glowing testimonials. So I know if you're an RIA, you can't do that, but if you're a registered rep or if you're a insurance professional, you could do that, and you should do that. So now, does it really matter? Where do you think people are going to feel more comfortable? In a office that's decorated like a bank lobby with fancy, expensive furniture, fancy, expensive coffee table, all sorts of fancy magazines on the coffee table, and art on the walls. Do you think they're going to be more comfortable there and more apt to do business there, or do you think they're going to be more apt to be doing business with me in my plainly but clean, decorated office with simple, basic furniture that's clean and easy to get into and out of, and it's comfortable. But all the art and everything else is all about me and my clients having fun, a friendly face, etc. Where do you think they're going to be more likely? It's my office. That's right. So we talked about reading material. So the other thing that you should always make sure you have, and we've talked about this, and a few of you have done it, so congratulations, but lots of you have not, and that is you always have to have a marquee to welcome people. So there should be a marquee out front where your door is, or on the reception desk when they walk in, and it should say, welcome Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. You do not know how much effect, what kind of an effect that has on people. Welcome them by name with a sign. It shows that they are special. How often do they get welcomes to someplace by a sign? And it only costs you probably $25 at Walmart or Sam's Club or Office Depot to get one of these marquees, and then just have your assistant or your receptionist put in the name of the next client before they come. It has a huge effect on people, a huge positive effect. And then make sure the receptionist greets them by name. Not, hi, welcome, can I help you? No! If the client has an appointment at 10 o'clock and their names are the Johansons, then she should say, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Johansson. And this is a hard thing for me to get my receptionist to do, because she would say, well, what if they walk in and it's not their Johansons? I said, listen, if they walk in 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after their appointment, the time, at 10 o'clock, call them the Johansons. And if they're not the Johansons, then anybody else will forgive you, and I will forgive you. But I'm not going to forgive you if you don't call them by name when they come in. It's a huge thing. Have their name on their marquee and call them by name. What do you think happens to their resistance level when they have a friendly face, a sign greeting them, and a friendly face greeting them? What do you think happens to the resistance level? It starts to crumble. And how much do these things cost so far? Diddly. Diddly. Bake cookies. Get a pizza oven. Get a pizza oven and then go to the grocery store, and in your refrigerator just have these tubes of cookies. It doesn't have to be great cookies, but tubes of cookies. If you want to buy the sugar-free cookies, buy the sugar-free cookies if you're worried about clients with diabetes. And then you cook them before they come in. Why? What do realtors tell you should do? Bake cookies for an open house. Why? Why should you bake cookies? That's right, the smell. what's the strongest sense when it comes to memory? What's the strongest sense we have when it comes to memory? See how smart you guys are. What's the strongest sense? Smell. Smell. Our olfactory is the strongest sense when it comes to memory. We can remember smells better than sights, touch, hearing, etc. So, and as many people are saying here, mom's cooking and those kind of memories, that when we're cooking those cookies in the pizza oven, it fills the office with a cookie smell, and people immediately think about that. How do you feel when you walk into a bakery with all those good smells? It immediately puts you in a good mood and knocks down your resistance level. Makes you happy. How many unhappy people are in bakeries, guys? Everybody's happy. The people working there are the people buying the stuff. It's a natural thing. So again, how much does that cost you to do that? Nothing. And then what I want to do is accomplish something that really has a huge effect. And anytime this happens to something, in fact, this weekend I talked to my brother and his fiance, and they both brought up, geez, in this restaurant, when we walked in, we hadn't been in there for 6 months, and they knew who we were, and they actually put my drink on the table, the same drink I drank 6 months ago, and put it on the table. It floored them. So when we give them a refreshment, and here's what we do. And so you might remember from Cheers where they'd say, Norm, and they'd have the beer waiting for them when Norm came in. That's the kind of effect you want to have with your clients. So what we do is I'd recommend you get one of those coffee machines that serves one thing at a time, the Keurig, Sensio, or Tassimo, one cup of coffee at a time, and you can have all sorts of different tastes, and then have a menu. And let them choose which menu or which one they want. So the first time they come, they choose whichever one they want. So here's the great thing. When they leave, what do you think you do with this menu card with their name on it? So the first time, they're going to go ahead and check what they want. But then after that, we got their name down here. Guess what we do with that card? File it. Exactly, Michelle, because then what are we going to do the next time they walk in? What are we going to greet them with? Guys, what do you think we're going to greet them with? We file it because we pull this out, so when they come in, the next time we give them the exact same thing that they ordered the last time. Now, whether they want that or not, what's it going to make them feel like? Did my brother's fiancée want that drink? No, but she gladly took it. Why? Because the fact that that guy remembered her and what she was drinking had this huge effect on her. It had nothing to do about the drink. It was what it represented. He remembered me. It made her feel unbelievably good. So when you're able to give them the exact same drink that they had last time, that's huge. Huge. How much does that cost, guys? A hell of a lot less than a marble floor. A hell of a lot less than a leather couch, I tell you that much. You can even there's a site called www.bottleyourbrand.com. You can even provide them bottled water with your brand on it. And we talked about the reading material. Testimonials, that's what should be in your reading material only. There's that collage we talked about earlier. And then when I greet them, when I come out to greet them, what do? I shake their hand. And this is, again, there's research upon piles of research to tell you the effect that human touch has on people. So when I shake their hand for about a second or two longer than most people do. Why? It shows them that it's not perfunctory, that you actually care about them. And where am I looking when I shake their hand? Right in their eye. If I can, I'll try to put my hand on their shoulder. The more touch, the more eye contact you get, the better it's going to be. And I've just seen too many advisors watching them where they go, hey, how's it going? They shake their hand, no eye contact whatsoever, or it's like a fraction of a second of eye contact, and then they turn their back and lead them down the hall. No. Make sure that act like a pastor does at the end of a service. What do? They hold that hand for a second or two longer, and they look you in the eye, and they make you sure that you understand that they're talking to you as an individual, and they know who you are. That's what you need to do. Don't just shake their hand, glance at them, and say, come on back. Make sure they know they're welcome. And the more hands-on you can do, the better. And then you turn to your receptionist and say, hold all my calls. Now, guys, of course the receptionist is going to hold your calls. You don't even have to say this. So why do you say that? Why do you tell the receptionist, hold my calls? And again, if you're at a suite, that's part of the tip. So the receptionist knows that you're not being a jerk, that this is all part of the way that you greet people. That's why you want to tip them and make sure that if you're in an office suite, they know what you're talking about. If you work with your current receptionist and you have your own receptionist, we'll also make them know that they know that you're not being a jerk to them and you're not being trying to lord over them, but this is just part of the greeting process for the client. So why do you think, yeah, clients are special, Bill, exactly right. So you just say, hold all my calls. Of course you're going to hold your calls, but you say that and it makes the client feel, wow, this is awesome. He's not going to take any calls while I'm in there. So far, how much have we spent? Thousands of dollars or less than a couple $100? Just very, very little. And yet, how much effect do you think that has on people? It has a huge effect. You're treating them like nobody's ever treated them before. Do they even get treated like that in a 5-star restaurant? What you're talking about? No, they don't. It's amazing how a little bit of customer service, a little bit of care can go such huge amounts of ways because we receive so little of it in our everyday lives. So please, on our site we have a little system called the WOW manual, and actually we've been doing this for the last 8 years. It's been stolen now by 2 of the other major FMOs, and they offer it to their guys too. But you know what that tells you? If 2 FMOs has stolen it and given it to their people, what's it tell you about their belief in this, what we're doing as well? That it's idiotic, that these things we're talking about are idiotic, or that what? They're things you need to do, okay? So then the last thing I want to tell you about is when you say hold my calls, after you go back to your office, you're going to have some small talk, right? You're going to have some small talk. Do you find the place okay? How about the weather? How about those Vikings? You're going to have small talk. So here's one thing I want to stress. You do need to have that small talk, but do you ever sit down while you're still having small talk, guys? Will you ever sit down while you're still having small talk, do you think? No, Bill says. You're right. No, no, no. If you sit down when you're having small talk, what happens? It'll continue, and then there's no finite place for business to begin. So I will stand and I'll stand and have that small talk, but then I quit talking and I just let them talk, and then eventually they understand, oh, we're not going to sit down until I stop talking about all this non-financial stuff. And the reason I do that is because for those of you that have been working on learning the system, what has to happen before their butt hits the chair? See this red button? That red button is on the client chair. What has to happen before your client's bottom hits that chair, hits that red button? What has to happen before your client hits that button? I'm not getting anybody answering this. So guys, what should we need to be learning the system? If you want to make the kind of money I'm talking about, you need to understand the system. The system has been designed and has been used by 200 advisors to triple their incomes because they use the system. Tell them what's going to, Andrew, thank you. Today's winner is Andrew. Tell them what's going to happen. I'm going to say, would it be okay if I share with you what happens the next hour or so? I say that as their butt goes down towards the seat. Why? Because if I do not do that, as soon as their butt hits that button, as soon as their butt hits that seat, guess what's going to come out of their mouth? Questions. Questions, questions, questions. And if they ask questions, now where are we? Because if all I do is answer their questions, what are they going to do with my information 9 times out of 10? If I answer their questions, what are they going to do with my information 9 times out of 10, guys? Take it to the other guy. You're going to take it right back to their guy. Because what's easiest? Yeah, I mean, they're in control. Yeah, exactly. You're on the defense. Yeah. But the big thing is if I answer those questions, and I get so many advisors say, well, I want to answer the questions. I want to show them, that I know what I'm talking about. Great. So you show them what you know, what you're talking about, and then they take all that information, and what do they do with it 9 times out of 10? They don't want to work with you. They want to take it back to their current guy. So they take it back to their current guy. So if I let them start asking questions, they've got control. I'm on the defense, and I have to give them information which they're going to take back to their guy. I lose. My competition wins. So here's the thing, guys. When their butt is approaching, they say, hey, would it be okay if I share with you what happens in the next hour or so? Does that sound like I'm taking control, or does that sound like I'm being courteous? Like I'm letting them know they don't have to do anything that they don't want to do? I'm letting them feel like they're in control by me saying, hey, would it be okay if I share with you what happens in the next hour or so? As they're sitting down. Does that sound like I'm being, yeah, it sounds friendly. It sounds like I'm being courteous. It sounds like I'm letting them be in control. But actually, by asking that question, what am I doing, guys? We've all had 5-year-olds in the back seat asking question after question after question. He who asked the question is in what? Control. So you're right, Andrew. By asking that question, even though it sounds like I'm giving them control, saying, hey, you won't have to do anything you don't want to do. I'm going to let you know what's going to happen for you before we get there. I mean, it sounds like I'm being courteous and giving them control, but by asking that question, I'm taking control. So before their butt hits the seat and they can ask that first question, I'm saying, hey, would it be okay if I share with you what happens the next hour or so? And we've got 50,000 recorded meetings from advisors across the country. Guess how many people have said anything but sure? They all say sure. So now they've handed you the first tiny little bit of control. And how do they feel about you at this point? They found your place easy. The signing was easy. They were greeted by the marquee. They were greeted by the friendly receptionist. They sat down or walked around your office, and there were all certainly happy, friendly pictures of all your clients. They picked up the book on the coffee table, and there was people singing your praises. They smell baked cookies. The receptionist asked them, given them the menu of what they want to drink, or better yet, it's their second time in, and the receptionist handed them the drink that they'd ordered last time. What do you think they are thinking about you at this point, guys? Have they ever had an experience like that? I don't care how much money your competition spent on their leather couch, on their plush carpeting, how much money they spend on rent every month. Whose office are they having a better experience in? Ours. Okay? This works. It costs not much. It costs very, very little to provide this kind of experience. So if you go online, and Missy, where can they find that online, the WOW manual?
It's actually underneath the library, underneath the archive library. For today's call, I'll also post the link along with the replay. But if they just go underneath the library section, click on Archive Library, and they will see the last item listed is the WOW experience.
Super. Thank you. So, guys, yep. That's any questions or concerns as I kind of wrap up here? I just want to remind you one last time. We'll be calling here in the next week, not this week, but next week, asking you to find out how you've done on on learning the presentation, and also on scheduling your September events. And if you haven't scheduled your September events, I don't care. That's fine. But then I'm going to say, well, how are you planning to get in front of people next month then? If you've got another plan, hallelujah. But if you tell me that you haven't scheduled an event and you don't have another plan, then what am I thinking? That I wasted my time and your time by making that call. So guys, I'm busy, you're busy. So neither of us, one of us want to make the call, except that you came on to make more money. And it's my job to help you do that. So if I don't get a hold of you, then probably Tricia will get a hold of you and schedule it. So schedule a time for us to talk. It'll be a half an hour at most. I just want to see what you're doing, where we're at, make sure we catch up. I like to do this a couple times a year to make sure that everybody's getting what they need from us, that we're following through on the things that we said we're going to do. It's your time to give me any gripes that you have. You should, but guys, just so you know, give me gripes immediately. If you have a problem, call me right away. Now, we don't get those very often, but when we do, I want to know now, not 2 months from now. But more importantly, I'm going to see, are you on track for where you should be with the system? If you're not, I'm going to give you some guidance on how to get there. Because you all came on to make more money, and like I said earlier, it's not by, we never promised that you would make more money by FedExing you a success pill that's going to arrive in your office. You take it with a glass of water and you magically become successful. It requires effort. But we have yet, and Jeff, are you on the line? See if he gets unmuted here for a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
yep,
so in 13 years, I can only remember of one person, Phil, who actually put the effort in that didn't succeed. Do you remember anybody besides Phil who put the effort in and did not succeed? By succeed, I mean at least double their income.
No,
not 10%. Not 10%. I'm talking about double their income. Anybody?
No, everybody that puts in the work and learns the system does better.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about a little better, guys. So guys that did diddly-do, I saw their income go up by 10%, but did you really come on to see your income go up by 10%? Or did you come on board with 5Q to see your income grow exponentially? And that's what we can do if you follow our guidelines. So I'm giving you 2 guidelines. Learn the presentation and get marketing scheduled for next month. If you don't know what to do, then I expect you to be doing an event. Would you have anything to add to that, Jeff?
No, I mean, the most important thing is to be out there seeing people, and you can only do that. The best way to learn the system and the best way to make money is to have activity. So you need to be out there doing things to generate activity. And we've given you things to generate activity, but if you have other things that are generating activity for you, like Mike said, absolutely, that's fine. We just want to make sure that you're generating activity.
So you've not heard me bust your chops in May, June, or July about doing events, have you? So I'm not just saying do events, do events, do events, do events, do events. No! I'm saying do events when they make sense. In September and October, they make sense to do. You will get in front of a lot of people and make a lot of money. So you need to be doing it in September and October. And again, I'm not just telling you you don't hear me every month saying, okay, make sure your event schedule, make sure your event. No. I'm telling you do it when it makes sense. After 13 years, we know when it makes sense. In September, October are the 2 months that it makes sense until January. So please get those things scheduled if you haven't done it, or when we talk to you, tell me what you're doing if you don't want to do one of those. Okay? So I don't like to get on the soapbox, but you hired me to make more money. That's how we make more money. As Jeff said, activity and doing the system. And the best way to do the system is actually being in front of people and presenting to them. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Again, we're here to help. If you've got problems, concerns, or things are going well, we'd love to hear from you because we're here to make you your job easier and less stressful and more profitable. So let us know. Thanks, everybody. Any comments before I let you go? Okay, looks good. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. Thank you.